Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, pick Guardian.
Well, we don't have Jared today. He was incapacitated.
Jared?
No Jared. But it's me. Hey, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to our show, the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to The Thing We Do. And it's
Good English. Good.
It's a
you
live
speak,
of
Todd.
ours. Thank you. I was all thrown off because Jared's not here today, and it's a real bummer. But Jared, we miss you. Hopefully, everybody will still want to listen to us, even though Jared's antics are not available to us at the moment. If he is able to jump in, then he may. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a surprise guest. But I'm pretty sure he's not able to join today. So. Jared, Tony, what do we have?
Yes.
What do we do on this here show?
We like to talk about gear,
Yes.
specifically boutique gear. Even more specifically, we like to talk to the makers of this gear, and that would include things like, pedals, maybe amps, maybe guitars, accessories.
All the things.
All the good stuff.
Indeed.
Occasionally we do a 101 episode where we go in depth on a particular subject, but that's not today.
No. Those are Jared's favorites, by the way. No,
Yeah,
today we are speaking with a Mr. Somebody from somewhere far away. Who are you, Mr.?
I am Alex from Zander Circuitry.
That is right. Alex from Zander Circuitry, a repeat guest. We had you on, I guess, about a year and a half ago, because it was just before your daughter was born.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I believe.
think so,
Yeah. Sorry for my NPR voice. We're using some different headphones because we've been getting a lot of bleed. Our Grado headphones they sound amazing, but they are open back, so I think we were experiencing quite a lot of unnecessary bleed. So now I've got like these giant radio cans on my head, and I'm like, oh, hey, how's everybody doing? And it's it's a little strange. I'm going to try to avoid doing that. Anyhow, we have a great show for you because Alex has a pretty amazing new pedal out, and we just wanted to catch up with him because he's generally an interesting dude too. So we're going to be doing that real shortly. If you're not familiar with Alex and his awesome brand, Zander Circuitry, Alex, where can people find you?
So we are on zandercircuitry.com or .co.uk. People will find us, and then at Zander Circuitry on all the social media stuff.
Awesome. And you got some great demos out there right now. So everybody, make sure you go check those out. Not while you're listening to the show, because then that would be, disruptive, and we'd have to stop
would be
and
rude
wait for you.
It would just be rude.
But in the meantime, we are going to find out from our announcements here what's going on. So we want to thank Rode for supplying our beautiful Rodecaster Pro console that is recording all our good stuff, and our Procaster mics. We just absolutely love these things. That's super high quality, and they're constantly looking to make things better. So we just got a new firmware update for the Rodecaster, and it's great because they listen to the user's feedback, and they say, that's a good idea, we should do that. So that's the kind of company they are. And its stuff is built like tanks. So
Would you also say that it's relatively easy to use?
Yeah, it's insane. It's super, super easy to use, which is, for whatever reason, in the music world and the electronics world, I think mostly because a lot of these things are created by engineers, not like, I guess, user technician or people that are keen to what users actually want. I know way back in the day that was very much the case. That's why old Sony stuff is like super complicated. And anyways, blah, 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 electronicshow.com. Yes, super easy. It's literally, you take it out of the box, you plug it in, and you're going. So highly recommend checking this out if you are interested in doing your own podcast, if you are doing any kind of easy recording. And by easy, I don't mean low quality either. Like, this is super high quality stuff, and it's
Digital.
It's all digitals. All right. I also wanted to just throw out there, all right, in the past, anybody who's been listening, you probably have noticed we don't have a lot of ads, because it's been very important to me to make sure that anything we do have doesn't conflict with the content that we're doing, and or isn't just an ad because we need the money or something, which, hey, we can all do with. But I wanted to open it up and just say, if you're interested in doing a promo or an ad for your product, shoot me a note. You can do it, DM me on Instagram or via email, todd@theguitarknobs.com. And if it aligns, and if we like the product, and if we can basically stand behind it, because we've gotten lots of them, and I'm like, sorry, I can't do this because it's not good, or it doesn't really align with our audience, and I don't want to push that on them. But if it does, we can definitely talk. So let me know. Let me know what you think. All right, what's going on in our music world this week? Tony Baloney's going to start us off, and then we're going to jump over to Alex.
That sounds like a good plan, Todd, as always. This week, I'm doing a lot of catch-up. We had a family emergency, and I was closed down for a couple of days, so I'm running behind, which is unfortunately not too unusual, but more than normal. But just been putting in long hours at the shop. My buddy Dave's coming in to help out a little bit, so we're getting caught up. So if any listeners are waiting on a Pick Guardian order, it's coming. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. But in my music world this week,
Hey, looks like our good friend Jared just joined.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Sorry I'm late.
It's okay. Better late than never, Jared.
Yeah.
We got a good show. You see Alex over here on the board, right?
Yeah, of course. How you doing, Alex?
Hey, not bad. Thanks, you.
So last time we got together, Todd, I think you had talked about Monell strings for an acoustic guitar that you wanted to try, specifically Kurt Mangan strings. And I'm a Mangan dealer, so I ordered some up. And Todd, did you get a chance to try them on your guitars yet?
I did not.
Oh, okay. So I put a set on one of my acoustics. And it is a different string. I guess Monell is a super hard steel material that is similar to what was used, I guess, in the early 1900s on really the first production strings that came out of, primarily prior to that there were a lot more nylon or gut strings instruments, and so these are like very early steel strings. They are very boomy, but they're also very bright, which is it's an interesting mix of things, and especially on an acoustic, since I'm not used to seeing silver strings other than the B and the E. It seems like it shouldn't be right, but it does. It's an interesting blend of things. So I'll be curious to see what you think when you put them on one of yours.
Yeah, well, I've got them I'm going to do one on my electric, on my Hagstrom Viking, and then one on the one of my acoustics here. So that'll be really interesting because I'll be able to test it against both acoustic and electric. So
the Viking, that might be a little bit heavy gauge to put on the Viking, I would think.
They're nines.
Oh, those are the pure nickel ones. Those are the ones that I wanted you to try.
Sorry. Yeah,
but the Monell strings are definitely for the acoustic, or if you have a jazz box or something like that, that would work out really nicely.
Yeah, for sure.
But
all right.
So full report next time.
Awesome. All right, Alex from Zander Circuitry, what is going on in your music world this week?
So I have been getting kind of falling back in love with my Kurt Cobain Jaguar that went unplayed for quite a long time. More through my own laziness than anything else. My main guitar that I mostly play is my Fidelity guitars, the kind of custom one that I had built a couple of years ago.
That's a local UK builder, right?
Yeah, he's based in Cambridge, which is a couple, maybe an hour and a bit away from me. Cool. Matt, the guy's name is. Yeah, makes really good stuff. But I basically I wanted to try out some flat wounds because I'd never tried flat wounds before. Stuck them on there on the Fidelity guitar, didn't like them, and then I've just been too lazy to take them off. So I have been playing the Jaguar just by virtue of the fact that I've been too lazy to take the flat wounds off the Fidelity.
Now, do you have the lefty version or the righty version?
Lefty. I'm left-handed.
Oh, that's right. Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it basically gone a little bit unloved and needed a bit of a setup. But now that I've kind of shimmed the neck and stuff like that, like a lot of offsets need doing to them, it plays 100 times better. So I've been using that, and a lot of the stuff that I've just been noodling or recording videos and stuff. I've been using that pretty much exclusively.
Nice.
And that's it, really. Yeah.
What gauge strings are you using on that?
I use 10 to 52s.
All right.
Almost
so I'm going to
recommend.
Yeah, I would recommend going up to at least 11 to 48 or even 12s because it's a short scale length, and that will help out tremendously. The break, or well, it won't change the break angle, but the downward pressure on the bridge with the heavier gauges. That's been my experience with short scales.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll give that a go. I actually I ended up swapping out the bridge on this one because I think it comes with stock. It comes with the, I want to say is it the Mustang?
I think it's a Mustang bridge comes stock.
Yeah, it comes with the weird little saddles. So they should have been swapped for like a normal kind of like Tunematic style with just one big dip in the middle rather than like the weird screw saddle that the original ones had, which holds the strings in a hell of a lot better than it did before.
Nice. So
cool.
Well, good. That's a cool guitar. I had a right-handed version of that for a while, and I think the combination of, actually, I think it did have. Now that I think about it, it did have a Tunematic bridge on it. But the combination of all those things with the DiMarzio pickups, it just makes for a really cool sounding Jaguar.
Yeah. Well, the extra thing that I added to it is I ripped the pick guard off and stuck push-pull pots on the pickup so I can get the single coil stuff as well, which is I almost pretty much exclusively just use the single coils now. I rarely use the humbuckers unless I'm going for like kind of crazy like high gain stuff.
Nice.
But if I'm playing clean, especially, so any of the demos that you hear of, I'm playing clean stuff, it's probably that, but both coil tapped and in the middle position.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Jared, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I was getting some guitars around yesterday to take to practice and noticed there is some spots of mold on some of the cases. So it's time to get a dehumidifier in the basement. And I'm going to have to clean all the cases and make sure there's no mold anywhere else. So that's...
You might want to open the cases too, just to
open
inside.
them and let them...
Yeah.
That's a lot of guitars. They're going to be spread all over the house. I'll just take them out in the sunshine, and let them dry out in the sun. Yeah, so that's pretty much the excitement of the week at my place.
Awesome.
So just have to clean the guitars and make sure there's no mold.
Very cool.
That's about it.
Nice.
I am basically...
How about you, Todd?
Thank you, Tony. That's a thing now. One of the bands that I really got into when I was living in the Orange County in California, where I grew up, was a band called the Cadillac Tramps. They were a local band that just had the best shows. They were incredible. And recently I noticed that there was a video up on Prime Video, and it was about the Cadillac Tramps. And I said, well, I got to watch this. And it was cool because I'm rewatching shows that I was at and remembering just how much fun it was. It was so good. Their main guitarist, Johnny Two Bags, basically went over to Social Distortion after that. And they started talking about that, and I'll be honest, like, I wasn't a massive Social Distortion fan, but I remember watching Another State of Mind, which is a video about these a couple of punk bands that basically, these guys are like 15, 16, 17 years old. And they basically went across the country trying to be something. One of the bands was Social Distortion. It was very, very, very early Mike Ness. And there's a particular point, and this really stuck with me for a long time, where he's sitting on the porch and he's trying to like work out this tune. And the person who's filming is like, what are you working on? And he said, I've got this thing. It's a song I kind of like. It's called Another State of Mind. And he's just roughing it out. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because having seen what they've gone through to get to that point, and then he's not giving up, and he's got this song going, and it's a great song. Another State of Mind by Social Distortion. It's a really great song. So I called my band up and like, hey guys, you know what we should do? Like, that would be a great one for us to just throw in for a cover. And what we like to do is when we do shows, we do like one cover, and that's the last time we play at one show, and that's it. Maybe that's a waste, I don't know, but that's the way I kind of want to do it, so people aren't expecting like, hey, play that song that isn't yours. So it's a kind of a fun surprise. So that's what I was doing. I was just kind of like, well, let's see how this works out. So just been playing along with that, and kind of fun. So I think we're gonna do it. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Very good.
Yes. Thank you, Tony. Yes.
Yes.
With my radio voice. All right.
Smooth jazz.
Yes. This is not smooth jazz.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Alex from Zander Circuitry. We're really excited to hear your second 4 on the floor.
Yes, I have four new ones. So yeah,
it would be very boring if you did the same 4 again.
Yeah, nothing's changed in 18 months. Yeah. So the first one, I thought I tried to do it as if I was laying out my own little kind of mini board, like my desert island, kind of 4. First, that kind of covers off everything from like light drive. Well, most of the drive stuff would be the Hudson Broadcast. I had the chance to play one at one of the shows I was at after seeing all the hype about it kind of everywhere, and kind of went into it with that attitude of, everyone's been hyping it up, I'm probably not even going to like it. I bet it's been overblown or whatever, but I ended up really, really liking it. It's got that cool kind of like recording console, like plugging straight into the desk kind of sound. Not really a conventional like soft overdrive or anything like that. So it was really, really, really liked it. And that kind of covers off everything from the light through to the kind of, well, it does get pretty high gain and quite fuzzy on the higher end of the gain side. So
that's one of those ones that you just mentioned. It had a lot of hype. That was on it's like every other post was us in broadcast, like for quite a while, I feel like. It was also one of the first pedals that I can remember that came out as a new pedal that had a decidedly retro look. And I don't mean like retro like a wedge shape or something like that. It looked like old 40s electric equipment. I know that there were a couple other brands out there that are doing that, but that one I think captured that really nicely without being like too kitschy or anything. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, with the oxblood knobs and the kind of dark blue finish that a lot of the stuff have. Yeah, I like the aesthetic. I like how it sounds. It's just, it's well deserved praise.
So we should still get one of those then.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, all right. I see. That's been one in my wish list of like, okay, I do have a wish list, and that is one of those that's still up there. So good to hear.
Right. So number 2 is the Frost Giant Electronics Soma, because you all know how much I love a Smashing Pumpkins reference.
Right.
It's a kind of big muff take with a bit more control over like the mids and stuff. Had the pleasure of meeting Eric, who I'd known kind of on and off on forums and stuff. I had the pleasure of meeting him when we were on the same booth at NAMM back in January, on the Stuntbox exhibit booth. Got to kind of chat for him to a little bit. Super nice guy. yeah, he just makes this really cool. He just makes a load of cool, like mostly aimed at kind of the Doom guys. That's a lot of like heavy fuzz stuff. But obviously, it's just like because it's like based on the Big Muff, it's kind of one of my favourite distortion / fuzz effects. And yeah, it just from what I've seen of it, it seems to sound really, really good.
He's going to be on our show coming up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric's a great guy.
We got a lot of requests for Frost Giant, so we're doing it. So, yeah, very cool. I had a nice little chat with him, so very excited to hear about his stuff as well. So I'm glad that you got some of that going on. How about number 3?
Number 3 is from, well, everyone's good friend, Wooly. From Champion Lecky. It's the Woozy that he's recently put out, which is a kind of weird, glitchy chorus vibrato
Tremolo.
kind of pedal that has like a load of different waveforms.
Great pedal.
Yeah.
I gotta get one.
Yeah, no, it's from what I've seen of it, and there's been loads of demos that have come out recently. It seems to be kind of kind of chorus and vibrato is one of my favorite effects, and that just kind of takes it to another level. So I love the kind of crazy glitchiness of it. It's just it seems really cool.
Yeah, it's a good looking pedal too, and it's right.
Are there underpants painted on that one?
I don't.
Or are there ghosts?
Isn't it a ghost in a ship?
Yeah, it's 3 ghosts in a ship. But
Yes.
I bet if everybody who has one of those sends it back to him and says, "Can you paint some underwear on the ghosts, the skeleton ghosts?" He might do that.
That would be cool. Or he could at least offer a sticker option.
Yeah. I actually have some stickers. I might try to do that. Cool.
I love those stickers. I actually bought a couple of shirts, and I'm proud to wear them. One shirt has the underwear on it, and the other shirt has just a random roll of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before,
it's funny.
Oh, actually, I should mention before I move on to the 4th one, I won't drop too much information, but I would keep an eye out for something to do with us and Champion Lecky, maybe.
Awesome.
Soon, maybe. Cool. And then number 4, this is a little bit of a cop out because it can do multiple things. It's the new Cooper Effects arcades.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying specifically with the reverb cartridge. So if anyone hasn't already seen it, it's almost like an old what are the consoles, I suppose, that had the cartridges, like the N64.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's basically a pedal that has a little slot in it where you can put these little memory card things that have different effects programmed in. So there's like a delay one and a reverb one, I think a modulation one. And it's nice to see that it's finally taken off, because I know a few companies have tried to do the whole cartridge thing before and it's not really fully taken off. He's really kind of smashed it out and seems to have done it really well, and it's really thought out. And people seem to be liking it so far. And from what I've heard of the effects, he's done a really good job on those as well.
Yeah. Well, that was mentioned on a previous one of ours too. Now, I think personally one of the reasons for the success of that pedal, or the reason that people are embracing it and not writing it off as like, that's a gadget, like a lot of times, especially if you go to shows or you go to NAMM, there's people who are like, here's this thing, and you're like, I get that is an idea, but it's just too gimmicky, right?
Yeah.
With this pedal, I think, first of all, he's got a reputation for making really very good stuff. The second thing is that I think that people are recognizing it not as like, hey, here's a new system you should use, but as this is a pedal that is absolutely unique. And if you love pedals and like the collectability and just want something to be like, this is really cool, and if it's only ever something that is just really cool, it's still worth it to me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That, to me, that's the big difference. Where a lot of other stuff like that tends to be like, here's the new way you should do pedals. It's like, no. Don't, that's too much. So he just let it be what it is, and he makes really high quality stuff. So that's a twofer.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is a cool 4 on the floor. Very well thought out, and some excellent pedals in there. Well done.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
How about we get to the meat and potatoes?
Let's do that. First, speaking of meat and potatoes, we need to say a big thank you to John Fennell for who's also a vegetarian.
Yeah, exactly.
John's been
maybe just to the potatoes.
Yeah, just to the potatoes. John is a friend of ours and one hell of a producer. He's a recording engineer and a producer. He knows how to conjure amazing guitar tones. He's recording here in Columbus, but he does record elsewhere. So if you need him to record somewhere else, he will go. John Fintel, JONFINTEL.com. He's working out of relayrecording.com, and would like you to contact him to talk about getting your awesome guitar tones or helping you find yours. And if you want to hear exactly what some of those awesome guitar tones sound like, you can check out my band, The Valentinos, on Spotify or iTunes or Amazon or wherever, and Bandcamp, The Valentinos. So, and then you'll be like, oh, that's what John does. Yes, that is what he does, and I'm absolutely bonkers in love with the tone that he helped me find. So, much thanks, John. Check him out. All right. Alex, we need to dig into what's going on with your whole pedal thing that you do. You know, you make guitar pedals and stuff. You have a brand new pedal out that I did an embarrassingly mediocre demo of, but I had some self-deprecating
well done, Todd.
fun. Thank you. That is the big news. Let's just get right into the doggone it. You say it.
The Junipero.
Junipero. I don't know why. Whatever. Junipero.
It's right up there with solderless connections.
Yes, Jared. Would you like to take a try at saying Junipero the way that you do things?
A Junipero.
Yes.
That's exactly it. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's his British accent, by the way.
Yeah. No. I'm
that's
pretty sure that was New
universal.
Zealand. That was New Zealand.
Yeah, that's a universal accent. Right
Yeah. Anyhow, so yeah, Alex, take it away. Tell us all about this amazing pedal you have out right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think I may have even mentioned that we were doing something towards this the first time I was on, because I think that was around the time that we just started this project. And it ended up it was meant to be kind of 6 to 9 months, and it ended up taking just shy of 2 years to complete. We kept kind of hitting a few stumbling blocks along the way, but it's finally out now. So yeah, the Junipero is it's a multi-modulation pedal. So there's 8 different effects. You've got a couple of choruses with a detune, flanger, phaser, tremolo, harmonic trem, vibrato and tremolo, and ring modulator. Kind of does a bit of everything. So kind of on top of those 8 effects, you've got stereo in and out, tap tempo, presets, subdivisions, buffered or true bypass switching.
Subdivisions.
Yeah. MIDI, full expression control, loads and loads of stuff. So we really did kind of spend a lot of time, me and the guy that helped me do it, kind of fleshing out a lot of the features we wanted to have. And the way that I've tried to kind of explain it to people in a nutshell is like, if you imagine like a Strymon Mobius or the Boss MD500, but coming from like a smaller independent company, like coming from that angle. So rather than just trying to do like a standard catch-all modulation, you know, where if you've got like the chorus sounds like the C1 or the flanger sounds like the Electric Mistress, what we've tried to do is kind of specifically make them a little bit weird and a little bit different, so we don't just kind of fall into the sea of multi-modulation pedals that are already out there.
Yeah. One thing that I found to be very helpful is that it feels like a regular analog pedal. It feels and operates like all my other pedals. And I think that sometimes the multi-modulation and even into the, more quote-unquote digital units, multi-units, can be either off-putting for a number of reasons. One, either the actual form factor tends to be like, well, we can't make it look like a regular pedal because it's different, or has very complicated menus, et cetera, et cetera. So you have essentially what those can offer in a much more user-friendly, arguably much more user-friendly enclosure, and a familiar one.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to avoid doing like crazy screens or like hold this and twist this and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously there's a few of those features in there just by the nature of what it needs to do.
Yeah.
But we've tried to keep things fairly self-explanatory. So I mean, if you want to dive in and do the MIDI stuff and set every parameter to an expression pedal per preset, you can do all that stuff if you really want to sit down and spend the time with it. But if you just want to use it as, the 5 onboard presets that it's got, you can do that.
Yeah. And it's easy to set your own too. I mean, I did it in like 30 seconds. So
so it's just twist to the settings you want, press and hold the preset button and wait for the light to flash, and then that's it. So that was the kind of I wanted to try and keep the user friendliness of our other kind of simpler, in quotes, pedals, like with the fuzzes and stuff, but bring that to a more complicated effect.
I'll tell you what, I was also using, so in the video, if you haven't seen the one that I did, which is awesome, go to our Instagram channel and you will see it. And you will see in the chain, I've got a Ditto, a Red Noise Stone Blender, which sounded awesome, paired up with your Junipero. And I will tell you, frankly, the Ditto confounded me far more than your pedal. That's the absolute truth. That was hilarious and frustrating and embarrassing all at the same time. So, but yeah, it was really fun. The sounds I got, I was very much enjoying what was coming out of there. So when you created this, did you have a specific user or a specific type of music or anything in mind, or just was this like, I think I should make one of these? What was the genesis of this idea?
Well, it sounds a bit cliche to say that I'm into everything, but I mean, I like a lot like music from a kind of like a broad range of genres. But a lot of the stuff that I've been digging into lately has been a lot of the like post-punk, shoegaze, that kind of dream pop stuff where it's all kind of, everything's reverbed out and modulated, and there's just echo on everything. And that's kind of where this started out, and then slowly evolved over time to kind of, it definitely leans more into that, I would say, those kind of ambient, like dreamy kind of players. I mean, it'll do those like classic modulation sounds if you dial the knobs back a little bit and keep it fairly tame, but it leans more into that weirder kind of shoegazy style. Yeah.
So out of that, can you drop a couple of your favorite bands of that genre?
So I've been really into bands like Dive, D-I-I-V, and Beach Fossils have been ones that I've been listening to of late. They're kind of more in that, that kind of dream pop, echoey, reverb, watery kind of sound, which I'm really, really into. And then obviously there's the obvious ones like My Bloody Valentine and even like Joy Division, because a lot of even though it was, earlier stuff, it still has that kind of aesthetic, and you can see how that's kind of dripped into a lot of these bands that are doing similar kind of things now.
Yeah. In my little video I did, I was kind of shooting for somewhere in between My Bloody Valentine and Lush. So, pretty sure I nailed it, just saying.
Yeah, you did good.
Well, and there's, speaking, I think you dropped a couple of your pedal names before. So I think the pumpkins also fit into that especially earlier pumpkins. There's, you can definitely get tones of that stuff. But the great thing about it is that the combinations that you can create, at least from my perspective, it doesn't feel like I have every one of them on full force. It's a really effective way to blend those things, maybe even easier than trying to blend individual pedals. They seem to work in tandem with each other, which is I found to be a great way to create and play. Like, I did not want to stop playing that. I was just like, wow, I can keep doing this for hours. This is fantastic.
I had the same experience as you, Todd, and all that in just the mono mode. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to buy this pedal and just use it on mono, but I plugged it in stereo, and it's a whole new dimension. It's just, to me, in my experience, it really adds another layer on top of what you already have. So in turn, in my opinion, it could be two different pedals in a way, but it's just a lot more ear pleasing, in my opinion, when you have it running in stereo. It really works great in stereo. I wanted to make sure everybody out there had that opinion, had my opinion, so at least heard it, right? Yeah. You got to try it. I mean, it's crazy awesome. It's different.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean effectively, kind of going from leading on from that, that's one of the challenges that we came up against kind of halfway into the project, realizing that the patches that we were creating, we were basically trying to use the same effects and then run them to stereo, and it just wasn't really working as well. So what I ended up doing was kind of going back to the drawing board, creating a whole set of specific effects for for when someone plugs into stereo. So when you plug into the stereo jack, it kind of engages those patches rather than the mono ones. So it is actively switching to an entirely different set of effects that have been created specifically for running in stereo, rather than just trying to shoehorn the mono ones in to a stereo setup.
What? Holy mackerel.
Yeah, that's why it took 2 years.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, it was totally worth it, 100%. I mean, I'm going to want this pedal. It's an amazing sounding, especially in stereo. I'm a stereo guy. Like, everybody knows that by now. I run everything stereo because it's better. You don't listen to your records in mono unless they're 70 years old, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And you have two ears, so that works out. And
except for you, Todd.
Honestly, it's a beautiful pedal too, because it still fits your aesthetic, but it is a little different, and it's simple. But I love the blue anodized knobs on it. It's good setup, man.
Yeah, they're those knobs are actually looking even better than the ones on the unit that you had, because I'm sure some people that maybe even follow me will know that we got kind of messed around by the first set of knobs that turned up from the manufacturer, and had a whole ordeal with trying to get money back and trying to open a case with people that are the other side of the world, and there's also a language barrier, and that was difficult, and a time zone, trying to deal with all that. But we were lucky enough to I ended up putting up the knobs on my website and sold them as B stock, and the DIY community really came out in droves, and within a couple of weeks I'd sold nearly 2,500 knobs.
Oh, wow.
I sold them at cost of what they cost me, just to claw the money back, thinking I'll sell a few, and whatever, they'll sit on the website for a year, and slowly they'll just, I'll deplete the stock. But within 3 weeks, I'd sold them all. So the DIY community really did me a solid on that one, because it gave us the funds to order from a different manufacturer.
So now you have little chrome skulls on there instead. Is that?
Yes,
okay.
Dice. Yeah.
Alex,
That's disgusting.
Alex, I was going to ask. How is the shift from doing fuzz, overdrive, distortion to going to a modulation pedal? I mean, is there like a major mind shift to figure out what you want to do?
I don't think the shift wasn't so much to modulation. It was more the switch to DSP. Because obviously, if you switch to like an analog chorus, it's not too different from building any other analog pedal. But the shift to the digital stuff, that was a bit of a wake-up call, because you're kind of coding effects rather than building them, because the chip is there, and all it's there to do is take your code and spit it out as audio. So that was a strange one for me to kind of get my head around. And it's not even remotely similar, but kind of having a little bit of background knowledge in coding stuff for web, I think it just gave me maybe a little bit of a kind of head start on kind of noticing patterns in code, even though like the code's completely different. But yeah, so that was a big kind of challenge for me. So I did all the audio side, like the patches and stuff, the effects themselves, and then I had a guy come in and help me do all the digital control stuff, so all the MIDI and the presets and tap and stuff like that. That was all done by him, and I just focused on the audio stuff, because that was kind of where I knew that my expertise lied. And I knew this guy was really good at what he's done. He's worked with a few other companies and done really good stuff for them, so he had a decent track record, and it was kind of like I could kill myself for however lot, like working crazy hard trying to figure out how to do this all myself, or I could actually get someone to come in and do it and make it work, who does this for a living, and can get it going first time. Yeah,
something to be said for sourcing people who are really good at things. I think it's interesting that you went, as Tony was mentioning, I mean, you're well known for the stable of awesome drive pedals that you have. They're outstanding pedals, and they're incredibly versatile. And if you have not checked out all the other pedals besides the pedal that we're talking about, I really highly recommend you do that, because you, with any one of your pedals, essentially getting like 4 or 5 pedals in one. They're outstanding. To go from that, and it's not even that you did a DSP modulation, you did like all the DSP modulations. And for anybody that doesn't understand what that means, can you explain what DSP is?
So DSP just stands for digital signal processing. So it just means that your effect is your signal is just being converted to ones and zeros, rather than just going through an analog part, and then kind of being spat out the other end back as audio, without trying to get too technical.
Sure.
It's when the analog side, like the dry on the Junipero is analog still, so you are blending it. Your dry signal isn't affected in that way. That's just going through a couple of buffers and whatever. But yeah, I mean, the leap for us, it was. I mean, even before we kind of officially started the project, I'd had the dev board for the chip for probably the best part of a year. So it's been something I've been tinkering with on and off for 3 years or so. And now we're actually bringing some of that digital stuff into our other range of pedals. So at some point this year, all of our stock, so if anyone visits the website now, the stuff that you see on there, it might look like we have quite a small range, because we're slowly selling off what is left of our current stuff. So a lot of it's already sold out. We're basically downsizing all of our pedals, all of our other pedals that are currently these enclosure sizes might not mean anything to anyone, but they're currently 1590 BB, which is maybe the size of like not a micro pog, the nano pog maybe, the EHX one. And we're moving down to a smaller enclosure that's more similar to the size of like a smaller MXR pedal, like a carbon copy. Maintaining all the functionality and actually adding some in certain spots. So, for example, the 6-way clipping switch that's on most of our fuzzes will actually be an 8-way clipping switch on the new one.
Naturally.
Yeah. And then the kind of digital
8 pedals in a box, essentially.
Yeah. And then the other kind of what I was mentioned about the digital kind of side of things coming in is that we're moving to relay switching, which allows for soft switching and also latching or momentary. So you can use it as a normal step on and step off, but if you want to just stamp on it for a couple of seconds, it activates momentary mode, which is really useful with our pedals because they all have 2 foot switches anyway. Normally for like it might max the gain out, or it swaps the gain control, or it gives you a different level control. So you can do that momentarily now rather than having to stamp on and stamp off.
I love that. That's one of my favorite features on pedals. You have this currently. You're done. You finally baked it. It is available to anyone that wants this now. You mentioned retrofitting some of these other things. Are you going to continue with new builds, or are you going to really just focus on retrofitting these old pedals for the near future?
Well, I think that's kind of all underway. That project's ongoing. Ongoing now. So a few of them a couple of them are nearly done, which is the Cyclone and the Sono. So it's our kind of crazy oscillating fuzz is the Cyclone, and the Sono is our bass, fuzz and preamp, so like 2 effects. Those moved over first because they have the same layout control layout, and the rest of them will follow after that because those also all share the same control layout. So it made sense for us to, because it means we can do this, the things that they have in common, like the clipping stuff, we can get that all sorted, and then it's just a case of plugging in the rest of the circuit. So that's kind of the way we're kind of approaching it from this kind of modular stage. And I'm hoping to have those hopefully out within the next few months. So maybe like around autumn is my goal for it. But who knows? That might be delayed. And then really the other thing kind of following on from that is, now that the Junipero's out, one of the things, again, why it kind of took so long to do it, is that we wanted to kind of make the structure of it, the hardware of it, somewhat generic in a sense that it can be used as a platform to host any kind of effect. So, and all that's required is kind of software changes. So it means that further down the line, we can bring out a delay or a reverb in the same format as the Junipero, but it means we don't have to go off and create an entirely new PCB or anything like that. It means we can just work within the software and use the hardware that's available, and just say, instead of, on a reverb, we don't need tap tempo, so let's make that do something else, like it's a hold switch, and it makes the reverb kind of drone off into oscillation or whatever it might be.
Right.
But yeah, kind of that was the thing that we wanted to do from the off, was make sure that it had longevity to work with other effects, right? Not just the modulation stuff.
Right. Cool, man. Lots of awesome things coming from you. I'm glad that you're here doing this now. Don't mean on our show, but like just in the timeline of your pedal building career, because there's not a lot that you haven't touched as far as drive and distortion or fuzz, and done those incredibly well. So a lot of times people can hit their ceiling, like, well, this is kind of what I do, and I've done it all, so now what do I do? You just opened up a huge new door, which is really fantastic. So congratulations to you for that.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
I just wanted to point out one more time to whoever buys these pedals, if you don't intend to use stereo, just please give it one chance. Borrow somebody's amp if you don't have 2 amps, and get them around the same volume and put one amp on the other side of the room and da-da-da-da-da. I'm telling you, you have to try it at least one time because why not tap into everything that this pedal has to offer? It's a really great pedal.
Stereo spokesman, Jared Brand.
Yeah, for real.
That's right.
Awesome.
High fidelity.
Right on. Well, Alex, we're going to hop on over to one of our favorite segments on the show. Jared?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our very interesting part of the show where we get to interact with a very silly question, which is, would you rather? This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by our good friend and executive producer, Matt Hart. Okay, this Would You Rather is the tale of two bands. So, there's two bands playing in two different places, and both their guitar players got sick. So they're out. They both call you. Now, the first band, you're going to be playing in front of 30,000 people at a really cool venue, but you hate the music. But everybody's going to love your guitar playing. Everybody's going to love the music and cheer you on and praise you, and you'll be a big star. Now, the other band, they're playing at a dive bar in some small town with one light with a crossroads. And there's 10 people there, but you absolutely love the music. It's the best music you've ever heard. You can play every song frontwards and backwards. You love that band. So, which one are you going to choose to play in?
That is a great question. At first I thought, I don't know if this is, and then I started thinking, wait, that's actually a really tough thing because most of us who play music, like even in hearing music, if we don't like the song, we change the radio or the station or the stream or whatever you're doing pretty quick, right? So this is an intriguing one. I'm curious to hear what everybody says. Tony, why don't you kick us off, and then we'll go to Jared and then hit Alex.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is a pretty easy question. I mean, I can't imagine suffering through an hour-long set of music that I did not enjoy. I mean, I would just be going through the motions. And even though it sounds like a great opportunity to play in front of, all those people and things, it would be garbage. So I'm going with playing with the small, tiny venue, one-horse town, with the band that I like to play, the music that I like and that I know. That's my final answer.
Okay, Jared.
I'm gonna definitely choose the same thing Tony did because maybe have a slightly more different reasoning. It's I would love to play in front of 30,000 people. In real life, I think the most I played in front of was maybe 1,000. And 30,000, that's nuts. However, if you do that, all the major big-time culty type fans of that band are going to forever remember you and associate you playing with that band that night. And if you just can't stand that music, you're going to have to put up with people wanting to talk about that experience, and you have to continue the lie forever until you're dead, until you die.
There you go.
So I'm gonna go with Tony on that and play in front of 10 drunks.
Interesting.
That won't remember me.
I'm assuming that the pay is the same for both shows.
yeah, because it's a union. That's right.
Let's see here. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to follow suit. I mean, given my nervous disposition when I have played to 10 people previously, I think 30,000 might be a little bit overwhelming. I don't think I'm really cut out for the rock star lifestyle. I mean, I'm always jealous when you see people like Dave Grohl and they'll pull people up out of the audience and they'll play just to play guitar and they'll get through like Monkey Wrench without even thinking about it, and they didn't even know they were going up. I don't think I could ever be ever be like that. So I think I'd have to pick the dive bar playing to 10 people.
How about you, Todd Lee?
Having done an awful lot of that dive bar stuff, I'm gonna go for the big venue, and I've got a pretty good reason why. Not just for like, you know, whatever kind of quote unquote fame or fortune that you might encounter right there, but
It's Kansas.
Oh, man. Oh, that changes everything, doesn't it?
speaking of monkey wrench, yeah, no, that doesn't change it, because I'll tell you why. I think that anytime you have a chance to show you what you're capable of, that's an opportunity. And I think about like people like Ron Kilo or Rhett Shull or any of these other guys that are getting a lot of great experience in session work, because that's the other thing. It's an experience that you wouldn't have had. So I think I could probably suffer through it, and I would look to that as saying, hey, look what I'm capable of doing. If you need me to do this, like either on a different for your band, or maybe mine can open up for yours, because now I've got, I can prove that I have experience of that. I would look at it as a new door, as a new platform, and try to exploit the living crap out of that for having to suffer through awful music. And by the way, I am not at all insinuating that the bands that those two guys that I just named for are insufferable bands. I'm not saying that. But what they did is they were able to catapult from those sessions, from early session work, to bigger and bigger stages and a broader range. So it made them grow as musicians as well. So that's just something that I can appreciate, and I think it would be a pretty cool opportunity, even if it was Kansas. All right, well, that was a good one. Thank you, Matt Hart, for sending that in. That was a
sellout.
That was a good one.
Send me more of those. Those are great would you rathers.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, if you got a would you rather, if you're sitting here, we would love to hear it, and we'd love to read it, because they're super fun times. All right, Alex, we're on the home stretch right now. We got a couple people to thank real quick.
And I'm super, super excited this week because, well, I'll just go into it. We've got some new names to read. This portion of the show, there's a group of people that help make the podcast possible. There are executive producers. Now, you might be asking yourself, what's an executive producer? And maybe more importantly, how can I become one? Well, it's very simple. Go over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs, and you will find various levels in which you can participate. Each level comes with some really, really great reward packages, including things like barefoot buttons and T-shirts and keychains. I got it this time.
Tons of stickers
and
pins,
giveaways. Oh,
picks,
my goodness.
all kinds of stuff.
The giveaways.
I've got a whole bunch of giveaways that are coming up. I'm just letting you guys know. I have a list of them.
So, I mean,
That's
each
right.
level has that stuff, but there's the executive producer level that helps the most and gets the most. In fact, in addition to all that great stuff, they get one very special thing. And Jared, what is that?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to our executive producers, Mr. Tom Barazin, Martin Cliff, John Daly, Chris Kearney, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Johnny Knowles, Anthony Lathrop, John Anglin, Tyler Bray, Brad Partridge, Chris Heidel, John Esterly, Tim Nowak, Doug Gann, Justin Jones, Brett Alexander, James White, Matt Hart, Liam Martin, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Mark Garton, Steve Keys, and our newest executive producer, Mr. Richard Kendall.
Hey,
welcome aboard.
Right on.
But wait, there's more. There's more. Oh, we have a special group that is a group of executive producers, but they're just a shade higher. We call them our Grand Poobahs, and we have a new Grand Poobah to add to this growing list. So here they are: Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, Sean S. Tommy Manasco, and Mark Garton. He was a patron. He upped his ante to the Poobah level, and we'll be sending out a fez for him to wear with pride.
And some other stuff.
Tip of the fez to all of those folks and to all of you who help us on Patreon.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Even if we didn't read your name off, your support is greatly appreciated. We're trying very hard to sort out our next home, and it might include a bit of a build. So it's helping us out tremendously. Alex from Zander Circuitry, thank you so much for joining our show today.
No problem at all. It was great to be back on.
Everybody, make sure that you check out some of the demos. Check out Alex's channel, Zander Circuitry, on Instagram. Give the Junipero a good listen. I really encourage you to be able to check it out. And Jared would like to encourage you to run it in stereo, if at all possible.
Yes.
How about
absolutely.
quadraphonic? Can you run it quadrophonically?
Oh my gosh.
You can
That'd be amazing.
somehow.
All right, Tony, where can people find you?
Oh, let's just say you need a special pick guard, or you're changing out pickups, or I don't know, whatever you're doing. Go over to pickguardian.com. You can see some of the things that I have available for sale, kind of stock items, but I do a ton of custom work. I mean, primarily that's what I do. If there's something that you don't see there, or you have questions, shoot me an email at info@pickguardian.com, or click on the link on the website. If you want to see some of the projects we've been talking about from time to time, go over to Instagram, and that's Pick Guardian and the number 1.
Tons of awesome materials that you can't even think of yet.
Yes, things you haven't even imagined.
Exactly. Jared?
So, for pickups, give me a call.
That's it?
How about how about old pickups that look like new?
That's right. So, BrandonWellonPickups.com. I specialize in making new pickups look like old vintage pickups to match your relic project or your original vintage guitars. And I also do a lot of repairs and restoration on vintage pickups or new pickups or whatever you need. Just please shoot me an email, Jared@BrandonWellonPickups.com.
And if you don't need vintage stuff, like if you just want your guitar to
I
sound
make
better,
cool new stuff too. Yeah.
really, really outstanding sounding pickups. So
Thank you.
Tip of the hat to old Jared, my friend over there. All right,
Thank you.
Alex, we are super happy that you joined our show again, and we really encourage everybody to go check out your pedals.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's great to be back on. So, yeah, if anyone wants to purchase anything on the site, Junipero, or to help us clear out any of the other stuff, I'm going to set up a discount code for the Guitar Knobs guys. So I will do GTR KNB20, and we'll give you 20% off at the checkout.
That is great.
GTR KNB20, and you're going to get 20%
I can't
off.
wait.
Oh, wow. That's super generous. We really appreciate that, especially because you have a stock of excellent pedals just waiting to be had. Does that include the Junipero?
Yeah, go on then, why not? Yeah.
Ooh, doggies. That might change things a bit.
Yep.
All right,
getting one of
everybody.
mine.
20% off this fantastic new pedal. I highly encourage getting your hands on one. Well done, Alex. Thank you very much. Our audience appreciates that, as do we. Thanks so much.
No problem. So, yeah, you can find me at zandercircuitry.com, at Zander Circuitry on all the social media stuff. So if you fancy picking up a Junipero or clearing out some of the other stuff that we've got left, then just let me know.
Yeah, all those other pedals are really fantastic, people, so get your hands on them. All right, everybody, have a great guitar week, and subscribe!
Woof.
All right.
Hey, there's Jared.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I apologize for my tartiness.
No problem at all.
Yay!
Cool. Sounds good.
You're such a tart.
Yes.
Thank you.
First time anybody ever that looked like Jared has been called a tart, I think.
I saw this was moved to 10:30.
No.
That erases my lateness.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.